Okay, first and foremost, I want to give all honors and praises and glory belongeth to my Lord and Savior, whose name is Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahavashai, Bahasham, Mahavakar Kodash, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone that teach this truth well, and that continue to teach this truth well, and to the hopeful elect across the globe, okay? The hopeful elect across the globe, and to the few brothers and sisters listening and also learning across the globe. This lesson is going to be based on faith. Faith. A lot of individuals, they make this truth more difficult than it is. And more so, you never know who's watching your videos. It could be someone that's just came across your video. So I've got to be, what's the word? Careful of how I put this across. But this more so is for the brothers that say they're in the faith. Okay? What is faith? Faith is what you don't see, but you believe it's there. So I just want to say this because this is something I've noticed for it's a long time, a long time. And in this truth, one has to be real with themselves. I've always said this. You come to camp, it's easy to put on an act, to muster up, to put on an act, to play the part, to be, what do you call it, a jive turkey, okay? Then after camp, you know, you're telling others what to do, but as soon as the week comes, you're showing that you don't really have any faith. You're exhibiting traits of a man that don't have any faith. Doubt, fear. And what's doubt? The opposite of faith. So again, when you do that, then people will look at you and say, hold on a minute, this individual doesn't really believe what he's saying. He doesn't really believe. He's just going through the motions. That's why you have to really believe in this truth. You can't fake, first of all, you can't fake the spirit. And you cannot will yourself to be a man of the Lord. I've seen men that were brilliant speakers, narrators, brilliant with the history, the laws. But guess what? They fell out because they did not have the fear of the Lord. So if you don't have that faith, that means you may need to increase in that fear. Because that's what it all comes down to. Because the faith and fear, they go hand in hand. The way particular men are moving, you can tell they don't really have the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Can't be coming to camp, telling other brothers how to, but you're not doing it yourself. Then when you do present a video, it's the same thing every single video, exhibiting the traits of a man that has no faith. And it would be better, see, this is what a humble individual would do. He would talk to brothers. He would let them know. He'd make it obvious. But when you don't do that and you put on an act, then guess what? You end up revealing yourself. Let's go straight to it. We're going to start on Psalms. Man, let's go to Psalms 116 and 10. Okay? I believe this is one of my favorite scriptures because it's, you know what, it's very simple and self-explanatory. I believed, I must believe, faith, therefore have I spoken. So guess what? You believe, you're going to speak these words. If you truly believe, you're going to speak these words and it's going to show. Okay? I was greatly afflicted. So for you having faith, what's there going to be? Trials. And what them trials? To test your faith. Yes, you're going to get times where you may feel weak. And Satan may be telling you, do you really want to do this today? You have to fight against that. And when you do that, guess what? Yahushua, he rewards you because you're fighting. But if you have that mentality, you know, you don't want to do it, you're just about turning up, you're just about doing enough, then Yahushua will see right through that. And other men will see right through it as well. You understand what I'm saying? You can't hide for too long. This is between, I've always said this, it's between you and Yahushua, because Saturdays, that's the day for camp. So what happens for the rest of the week when you're by yourself? Are you still exhibiting faith? This is what it's all about. Are you still exhibiting faith? Because if you're not, there's obviously a problem. I've always said this, 1 or 2 videos, you're going to get them down moments where you're down. I'm talking about every single video. A man exhibiting traits of an unbeliever. I've seen this so many times. And obviously as brothers, we help each other out. But there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do, because if a man, and it is down to predestination. Because if you were predestined to be in this truth for a little while and go back into the world, well, that's what's going to happen. If you were predestined to be of the elect, you are of the elect no matter what happens. But the elect, they're going to have a particular mindset when it comes to the truth. They're going to have high levels of faith. They're not going to be faking. Okay? And it says, I said in my haste, all men are liars. That's why you got to put your trust in Yahweh Shai. What shall I render unto the Lord? Give unto the Lord for all his benefits towards me. And how do we render back Yahweh Shai? By doing the work. Okay? Just a minute. I'm going to go to Romans, because again, you've got men, they don't really have the fear. The way they're moving, they're not really moving in the fear. Too comfortable. Can't be comfortable in this truth. Cannot get comfortable. This is Romans 10, and we're going to go straight to 10. For with the heart, the mind, man believeth. I believe, therefore have I spoken. So with the heart, it starts with the mind. You believe, you hear. Okay? Unto righteousness. So with that belief stems forth righteousness, because you believe in Yahweh Shai. And with the mouth, confession is made unto salvation. So it starts with hearing. Then the Lord gives you the spirit of what? Faith. And with the mouth, confession is made unto salvation. Then what? You may end up what? Teaching? Confessing Yahweh Shai. Do you see how it works? Because you've been given that faith, and faith is a gift. If you ain't been given that gift, then eventually you're just gonna fizzle out. But some men just hang around with the mentality, nah. You know, if I'm going down, you're going. No. See, that's a demonic mindset. You better be serious about this truth, because this ain't a joke. Okay, this is not a joke. This is serious. This is life and death. Not play about with this truth. And it's the same thing. I'm starting to see it's the same thing every week now. The same thing. You can't just turn up at the last minute, the last hour. The last hour, I'm just going to come to camp and act like I'm in the spirit. I'm just going to read for him. I'm just going to speak a little while and act. No. Because all things are made manifest by the light. So if a man has strong faith and you don't, no matter how much you try to push doubt, that's going to be seen. It's going to be seen. But this is what men are doing, because they're so deceitful. And whoever it applies to, it applies to. Okay? You think I haven't had days where I'm feeling low? Even this week, there was particular moments where I was feeling low. But guess what? I still had to. You still have to push through. You still have to push through them moments, because then it wouldn't be a fight. It wouldn't be a fight. Bear me just a minute. If everything was just easy. Quickly go to Hebrews. That's why the sooner all this happens, the shutdowns, the better, because there's too much fakers. And this is the thing. I want to be surrounded with men that are on fire for the truth. Not guys that got their hands in their pockets, faking, phony, lukewarm. I want to be around individuals that really want to get out of this kingdom. Oh man, let's go to the definition of faith. It says complete trust. Complete, not half-assed. Just trust in the Lord, just 90%. No, full trust. or confidence in something or something. Because if you don't have trust, then you don't have confidence. Therefore, you have doubt. And you're going to be living your life in doubt. Everything you do is going to be doubt. That's why the apostles made that decree. That's why they made that decree. Belief, trust, belief, confidence, conviction. You got to convince yourself, bro, before you convince anybody else. You got to convince yourself. There's such a thing as self-conviction. Credence, reliance, dependence, optimism. You got to have an optimistic state when it comes to pushing the truth. And how do you know someone's got an optimistic state? Because they're going to be pushing. They're going to be pushing. Someone that's not doing that, they actually have a deceit. Someone that's doing the opposite of that, they actually have a deceitful mind. That's where deceit, that's where evil creeps in. When you're not focused on Yahweh Shai. It's not really hard to understand. Okay, so let's go straight to Hebrews 4. And it says, let us therefore fear. So if you're having doubts, then there's issues going on. And again, I've experienced this before. Don't say the individual's name. I've labored with individuals that have had doubts, but they never done anything about them doubts. They just let them doubts linger. So if you let a doubt linger, what's Satan gonna do? He's gonna operate on them doubts because he loves that. He can work on that. But he doesn't want a man to have faith. So that's the most important thing is faith. And we're going to go into particular scriptures on prayer. Because prayer is a very important thing. Bear me just a minute. Remember why you're in this. Yeah, brothers are around you, but you're in this for yourself. And for the hopeful elect. But it starts with yourself. Because if you don't have faith, you're not going to be able to teach anybody else faith. Just going to be, in every video you do, you're just going to be shaky. You're going to be sounding senile. You know? Like, you're going to be sounding like an old senile person. I'm not taking the people are old. I'm not taking the mick at our old people. But you understand what I'm saying. You're going to be sounding senile. Like you don't want to do this. Because some men, they just rely on other men to be in the spirit. I call them, what do you call it? Spiritual leeches, spiritual vampires. You can't do that all the time. Because what happens when I'm not around? What happens when another brother's not around? Where does your faith lay? You understand what I'm saying? You've got to be sincere about this truth. Let's go to Hebrews 4. Let us therefore fear. Let's a promise. So it all begins with fear also. If you fear the Lord Jehovah Shai, you're going to be doing what he says. You're not going to have your feet laying up. Okay? With a hot cup of latte in your hands. Because men get comfortable. Men get comfortable. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the truth. It's always about what you've done, what you're doing today. Because you can look at because certain men say, yeah, my last video, last week. What about today? What are you doing today? You're only as good as your last goal. So it matters about today. Are you better than you was yesterday? That's the type of mentality you want to have. Let us bear me just a minute. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us, and that promise being left us from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, the kingdom of heaven, okay, of any of you should seem to come short of it. And this is what you see in this truth. Men, what they come short of that that promise, by not fearing, by not being diligent. Diligence also does give you assurance as well. Okay, because that's the man that shows his mind is on Yahweh Shai. It's not in the world. Because if you're diligent, that shows your mind is on Yahweh Shai. You got men that would scoff at the idea of being diligent. They would scoff at that. They would actually scoff. But what happens to men like this? They end up falling out. Because they were never taking this truth seriously. This was just something to do. Or they may have believed for a little while, but guess what? They got disenchanted by this world. This is what this world does to you. It's what Satan does to you. Gets you disenchanted if you're not focused. Some videos, they don't need to be no longer than 5-7 minutes, as long as you're putting forth the effort, as long as you're exhibiting faith. So we're on Hebrews 4:2. For unto us was the gospel preached, the hopeful elect. as well as unto them, the others, but they didn't have no faith. But the word preached did not profit them. So if it did not profit them, they looked at the truth as there was nothing to it. Because certain men, they just go through the motions. They just go through the motions, and certain times you see a pattern, they just fizz out, they get weaker and weaker and weaker. And they don't do anything about it. They don't pray, they don't fast, they don't do videos. So that's how your faith, it becomes diminished. You have faith. See, we have faith. So guess what? You've got to keep it. You've got to fight to keep it. There's plenty of things that can be done. But the word preached did not profit them. Not being mixed. Because certain videos I've watched. And one video saying, an individual, I'm not going to put his name out there. But again, these are individuals that don't really have faith. Like, is it worth it what we're doing? Of course it's worth it. Why would you even say that? Is it worth it? That's a man that does not have faith. That's a man that does not have vision. You've got to have vision in this truth. So when we read these scriptures, we're visioning. We're visioning it. We're visioning the kingdom. And the kingdom of heaven is within us. A kingdom of heaven is a mind state. What's your mind state? Are you already defeated? Because a lot of men, they're already defeated. They've already given up. I've always said this. You could be coming to camp, but you've already given up in your mind. Let's continue. Not being mixed with faith. So this word has to be mixed with faith in them that heard it. So if it's not mixed with faith, it's sin. Okay? For we which have believed do enter into rest. And this was also acquainted with in the time of what? Egypt. Okay, them going into the promised land. So like in the wilderness. As he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world, going back to Genesis. For he spake of a certain, for he spoke for a certain place of the seventh day on the wise. Okay, which you get the Sabbath. The Most High did rest. Okay, that's where you get the Sabbath day, the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, and if they shall enter into my rest, okay, saying therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in, okay, the promised land Canaan, because of unbelief. So the examples are even there in the wilderness, those that did not enter because of their unbelief. So my advice for those that are in camps, they're already in the truth or claim to be in the truth in camps, it's better. If you're constantly of a doubtful mind, it's better that you don't come to camp. Because if you come around me, I'm just going to move from you. If that's what I constantly see, okay, because obviously you're going to help someone, but if I constantly see that, you can't be around that energy, because that energy is contagious. That doubtful spirit is contagious. Scriptures tell you about their what? I think it's Deuteronomy 30. If a man be weary and faint-hearted, let him stay back home. Stay your ass at home. Because you're just going to spread that virus. Okay? And it's a wicked spirit. And it all goes back to what? Being slothful and not being about the work. Really, it's a slothful spirit. It's a wicked spirit. One thing, I'm not talking about brothers that doubt here and there. I'm talking about all the time. All the time. You just know how to turn up. And that's it. You just know how to turn up and put on an act, put on a show. You know what that makes you? An actor, a hypocrite, a fake, a phony, a jive turkey, a spiritual leech. Sometimes you have to be a bit harsh, because men are not showing faith. They're just backpedaling of what another man's doing. Oh man. Let's go into prayer, because prayer is important. Let's go into maybe just a minute. See if we can get it. And that's the beautiful thing about when you're by yourself, you're forced to do a lot of soul searching. Whether you believe in this truth, and Yahushua does that When you're by yourself. Not when you're around a whole group of men, because it's easy to fake when you're around a whole group of men. That's easy. More so when you're by yourself. Here it is. This is Ecclesiastes. We're going to start on Ecclesiastes chapter 18. And start at 23. Before thou prayest. Okay, before. Prepare thyself. So some brothers will pray kind of spontaneously, but it says prepare thyself. Because prayer is a very important thing. So when you're praying, you're preparing what you're going to say, what you're asking for, and you really want to be precise on what you're asking for. And be not as one that tempteth the Lord Jehovah Shai. So if you're just praying because to you it's just something to do, which it is something to do in a sense, because you've got to pray all the time. But you want to be precise on what you're praying for. So again, if you're weak in the faith, you're very, very doubtful. Because Thomas, what was he known for? Doubting. They call him doubting Thomas. No, but he had faith. He was one of the disciples. He was of the elect. So you're gonna have brothers in this truth. See, again, this way you've got to be understanding that. Have less faith. But how is that faith worked on? Through prayer, through fasting, and doing what you need. Because every brother's different. Every brother, their faith is different. So you got to know yourself. Okay, and it says, be not one that tempteth the Lord. And when you're praying, think upon the wrath that shall be at the end. So that should move you as well to do this work. You're thinking about the wrath that shall be at the end. And what's that wrath? Missiles, complete destruction. A lot of people, your mother, your father, your daughter, your brother, they may not make it. See, these are the things you gotta really lay to mind. And in a time of vengeance, when he shall turn away his face. When thou hast enough, remember the time of hunger. So even when the Lord's blessing me with things, remember the time of hunger when you never had these things. Okay, which ties into humility. When thou art rich, think upon poverty and need. When you've got a lot. From the morning unto the evening, the time is changing. All things are soon done before the Lord. Okay, a wise man will fare in everything. Because you got men, the same man that's doubtful, he talk about fear. The fear of the Lord. The same man that's doubtful, he talk about fear. But if you're doubtful, that means you really don't possess the fear of the Lord. You have the fear of Esau. What Esau can do. What if Esau does this? What if he does this? You're being overtaken by fear. And it's not right. That's not fair. And that's not right that you push that spirit on other brothers. It's not right. So it's best you just stay there. Stay where you are until you're strong. Same with an army. If you have an army and one man's spreading fear, it's going to spread through the camp. So a wise man will fear in everything. And this fear is the fear of the Lord Jehovah Shai. And in the day of sinning will he be aware of offense, but a fool will not observe time. So again, when it says a fool, the scriptures talk about 5 wise virgins and 5 foolish virgins. The 5 wise virgins, they had oil. They had oil. They believed. And the reason they had oil, because they were serious about the truth. They were, they were practicing what they were preaching. Okay? And the fool, what's it? And the 5 foolish, okay, foolish virgins, they never had oil. Why did they not have oil? Because they were not practicing what they're preaching. They were not serious. They waited to the last minute to get serious. You don't wait to the last minute. And this is what I ask myself. What were individuals doing all this time, all these years in the truth? What were they doing? Because I know what I was doing. I may have been going off here and there, but my whole mindset was resolute on the truth. See, even when you did mess up, you were still going home, you were still studying, you were still doing all these things. But you had men in the truth that weren't doing none of these things. They were just a part of the world. This is an everyday thing, every single day. Every single day. And that's how your faith gets increased as well. Okay? But what, staying in a repetitive state of pushing this truth, of reading, watching the apostles, all these different things. Because when you read, I notice your faith gets built. This week I've been making more time, trying to make more time to read. Because it's one thing just pushing out videos, but actually reading and letting these scriptures marinate. Read upon the prophecies, read upon the things to come, read upon Jeremiah, read upon what the prophets went through. That's what builds up your faith. Read upon Peter at Acts when Peter was in that prison and the angels busted that prison door open and hit him and said, "Get out of there," and put blindness on the guards. These are the things that are going to stop you thinking about Esau and what he's going to do. You see what I mean? But if you're in a fearful state, you're not going to be pushing the fear of Yahweh. You're going to be pushing the fear of Esau, and that's what the so-called black woman does. She teaches you to have the fear of Esau. Okay? Go out, be the goodest slave you can be. It's that mindset. We're gonna have the mindset of faith, and it's not going to be 100% all the time, but it's about working upon it. Talk the talk. It's not just about walk it. It's not just about talking the talk. You got to walk the walk as well. Okay, you talk the talk, but you walk in the walk, but you talk the talk and walk the walk. Okay, because some men you can just talk, but when it comes to it, you see, hold on a minute. This guy, he's not ready about it. He's a fake, he's a phony. I don't want fakes and phonies around me, because they get you killed. A man like that will get you killed. Okay. Then a man will try to flip that around and say, hold on a minute, why don't you want to be around me? Because you're doubtful. And the scriptures tell you about that. Okay? A doubtful man. He's not going to be defended. Okay? And the Lord Yahweh, he does things. See, in my life, there's a reason why I'm fervent for the truth. You're not just, it becomes through the fear. So, there's been particular scenarios where, yeah, there's times where I have not been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But guess what Yahweh does? He causes something in your life to happen, which is it could be a life-threatening situation, or just something that might spook you out a bit. And when he does that, that's him showing you got to be in this truth. But guess what? Carnal things will happen to men over and over and over and over and over again, and they still will not take heed. So, what's Yahweh going to have to do with individuals like this? He's going to have to take them out. I know he's going to have to take them out. I'm talking about, I've seen it myself. Brothers will say, this happened to me, that happened to me. I want to be diligent for the truth now. And they never change. No matter what you say, there's certain individuals in this truth, no matter what you say to them, no matter how much exhortation you give them, they still not going to want to change their ways. So guess what? Yahweh is going to have to do something. Because he can show you in the carnal, frighten you, and if that don't work, guess what he does? Strips the spirit away from them, because you don't have the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Oh man. The Lord, here it is. The Lord can get you into a car crash. The Lord can have it where your tire falls off. You're driving in your tire, and that was still not convince men. That will still not persuade men, because they don't have that fear. And you don't want to be rolling with someone, traveling with someone that doesn't have the fear of the Lord, because that judgment that comes upon them, if you're around them, that judgment can come upon you. You see how serious this truth is? Oh man. Let's go to Matthew 6. Let's go straight to it about prayer. You know, this ain't no time of games, man. Matthew 6:5. When thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say to you, they have their reward. So prayer is something that's very private. It's between you and Yahweh Shai, not between the whole world. Okay? But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet. So you go into that closet, which is what, a room in a secret place. And again, don't be simple. When you're out and about, obviously you're going to pray, but you're praying to yourself. You're doing it in secret. You're not doing it loud. Okay? But this is referring to it when you're indoors or wherever you are. Closed location. And when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father. Why does it say shut the door? Because it's personal. Pray to thy Father which is in secret, Yahweh. Okay, beginning with Yahweh Shai, because you cannot pray directly to the Heavenly Father, you go to Yahweh Shai. And thy Father which seeth in secret, because it's done in secret, shall reward thee openly. So you're going to be rewarded openly. Why? Because you've done it in secret, and that shows what? Sincerity. That shows faith. It takes faith to pray. And guess what? If you feel like you're not praying enough, pray to what's it? If you feel you're not praying enough, that's another prayer that you can pray to pray more. Okay? And it says, 1 verse 7, but when you pray, use not vain repetitions. Okay, because the Christians do that, the Muslims do that. Okay, and the heathens do that. As the heathen do. For they think they shall be heard for their much speaking. So, again, if the scriptures, don't be as one that tempt the Lord when they pray. When you're doing much speaking, you're not being straight to the point. The scripture says, let your words be short, few, and comprehending in the Apocrypha. So when it's short, few, and comprehending. So Yahweh knows because he already knows what you want, but he wants you to be precise. Okay? Just like if you're a father and your child asks for something, you want them to be precise. Get to the point. What do you want? Okay? Use not vain repetitions, for they think they will be heard for their much speaking. Okay, I heard an individual said he prays for a whole hour. Come on, man. Who does that? A whole hour? All it takes is a few seconds, even a minute, and you're done. Okay? That's babbling. That's called babbling. Be not therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before you ask him. So he already knows what you need. He already knows. But he wants you to ask him. Why? Because that's a sign of faith. If you're not asking him because you don't have the faith, you don't believe you're going to get what you want. Okay? All these things are required. Let's quickly go to Corinthians. Abakashah. Where is it? Corinthians, I believe it's 2 and 14. Remember that it's a battle, it's a spiritual war. You can't just lay back. The moment you lay back, Satan's going to say, you see, we got him now, we got you now. This is how this truth is. Never get too comfortable. See if I can find it. Bear me just a minute. Prayer is important. It's the single-handedly most important thing. Prayer. Because prayer is your direct connection between you and Yahweh Shai, and you and him only. Okay? And that's what gives you what? A push. Have you ever been feeling really weak and you pray and all of a sudden you're strengthened? That's because what? Yahweh Shai, he's heard your prayer. Okay? So let's go to 2 Corinthians. We're going to go to 2 Corinthians 8. Okay, and we go straight to 20. You know what? Let's start at 24 because this again is starting with faith. For we are saved by hope. What is hope? Faith. Okay? Not that. And when I'm talking about hope, I'm not talking about that hope. Let's just hope. Maybe if this don't happen, if it doesn't happen in 2000 and this, we go back into the world. No, not that type of hope, because this is what men have done. They set a particular time on when the Lord was going to happen. What did some do? They went right back into the world. You don't put a time on it. And you could set a time as in, yeah, I want him to come this time, but you still have the expectation. Even if he didn't come in 2 years, you're still waiting for him. That's a man of faith, because you believe in the promise. And having faith is believing the promises. If you don't believe in the promises, then you don't have faith. For we are saved by hope. But hope that is seen is not hope. So that's what you're saved by, your faith. And hope that is seen is not hope. Because if it was seen, guess what? You have your feet up. Okay, that's why we say hopeful elect. For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for? So what a man sees, it's not going to be classed as hope, it's not going to be classed as faith. Okay? That's why Yahushua set it up this way. So what, we would have to labor and show our faith through our works. But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. So with that patience comes suffering. With that suffering comes experience. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities. Another word for infirmities is our sicknesses, particular diseases that brothers have, which is when your body's at disease. So the Spirit helpeth our infirmities. Okay? For we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. Because sometimes you may be in a dilemma what to pray for, but the Lord already knows. And He'd give you the Spirit. The angels would tap into your mind and give you the Spirit what to pray for. And He that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is in the mind of the Spirit, because He maketh intercession for the saints according to the word. So Yahushua, He makes intercession for us. What to pray for, how to pray, what to pray for. And that's how you get strengthened. And don't stop praying as well. And we know that all things work together for one of my favourite scriptures. Again, this is one of my favourite major faith boosting scriptures. This is what? Corinthians, what's it? What, Roman? Is it Romans? Yes, Romans. Okay, this is Romans 8:28. And we know all things work together for good to them that love the Most High. So you got to know all things are working good for the hopeful elect that love the Most High, to them who are called according to His purpose. Which goes down to what? Predestination. You got men that will argue about predestination. No, predestination is in the scriptures. Okay? And I want to put this out there as well. Did Yahushua have a camp? Did He have a body of men? Yes, because you have men with seducing spirits on him saying it doesn't matter what camp you deal with. No, first of all, there's a reason why it's called a ministry, because it's a body of men, okay, that are coming together across the world. So if anybody's telling you it doesn't matter about the camp, is there going to be wicked men in camp? Yes, the Lord's going to shift them out. Okay. Or if there's a righteous man in the camp, the Lord can shift that man out so what? He can be more profitable to himself and to others. So again, there's balances. And are there going to be men that are shifted out of camp because they were wicked? Yes, there's a balance. But again, Yahushua deals with a body of men. 12 disciples, they were a body of men. They did go 2 by 2. It wasn't a big camp like that, but you have what? Bodies of men, you had helpers, you have this. So anybody's telling you, because I've seen this as well. Men saying this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about your camps. Now camps are very important. Yahushua established that. Yahushua established camps. Okay? But even though we have camps, what? Every brother is still supposed to work out his own salvation. Okay? So don't get it twisted. If anybody's telling you that that's a seducing spirit upon them. The Lord deals with camps, okay? And it says, who are called according to His purpose, for whom He did foreknow, He also did predestinate. So the elect have been predestinated, selected, okay? Which is what? Knowledge beforehand. To be foreknown. To be conformed, joint. Conform means joint. Con meaning with form, to form something. To the image of His Son. So the elect have always been with Yahushua, that He might be the firstborn, speaking of Yahushua, among many brethren, going back to Adam. Moreover, whom He did predestinate, chose, them He also called. So again, a man cannot will himself, because those that were predestined, they were also called. What? To do these works, and whom He called, them He also justified. So if Yahushua justified you, who can really be against you? Because you're justified by Yahushua. You're justified. Not by men, by Yahushua. Whom He justified, them He also glorified. So the hopeful, they're going to be glorified in Yahushua, and they're going to be glorifying Yahushua. It's all about faith. Okay? And if one's lukewarm, eventually he's going to be what? Shifted out. Okay? It's all about prayer. It's all about prayer as well. Bear me just a minute. Let's go to James. That woe is me spirit, you know. Got to snap out of that sometimes. You know, that what are we gonna do? That uncertainty. That's not a spirit. See, again. That's not a spirit of faith. What are we gonna do? Have faith. That's what we're gonna do. What are we gonna do? Where's the faith? Then when Saturday comes, you wanna be all that. You wanna come out and act like it when you're not about it. You're an actor. And if anything pisses me off, it's that men faking the funk. Let's go to James 1 and go straight to 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Brothers are going through temptations in this truth. It's not just one man. Brothers go through temptations. Okay? Yes, that's normal. Some men teach, he's going through temptations. He's wicked. You failed that temptation. You're wicked. You've been tempted. Well, so you've never been tempted before. The temptations are what? A proof of your faith to see how long you're going to what? Hang on. Okay? Not even hang on. Are you going to endure? Because if you're hanging on, then that means you're on a shred. Okay? Knowing this, that the trying, testing of your faith worketh patience. So these things work your patience, your suffering. But let patience have a perfect work. So what you could be more experienced when you're teaching. So now you can teach others, and it means more because you've been through it. And that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So that's how you're made more perfected. By what? These trials. I know, of course it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. But what? It's to perfect us. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High. So if you're lacking in any wisdom, just ask. Prayer. Anything. There's so many things we can ask for. That giveth to all men liberally. Liberally means in large amounts. Okay? And upbraideth not. Upbraideth means to talk rubbish behind. The Lord ain't going to talk rubbish about you. He's going to be happy because you're asking him. And when he sees that, he says, yet this man believes in me. He's asking, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith. Because if you're not asking in faith, then the Lord is not going to answer that prayer. Nothing wavering. Because if you're wavering, you're double-minded. And that goes into being lukewarm. So someone that's lukewarm, everything they do is going to be doubtful. Everything they do is going to be uncertain. For he that wavereth is like the wave of the sea. Have you seen the strong waves of the sea? They're beaten to and fro, driven with the wind, tossed to and fro, which goes into what? Being double-minded. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord Jehovah Shai. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And how does one become double-minded? Let's quickly go to Revelations. How does one become double-minded? Revelations 3 and 15. And it says, I know thy works. So Yahushua, he already knows your works. He already knows your works. Okay? That are neither cold nor hot. Because men say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about your works. Yes, it does. I know thy works that are neither cold nor hot. So if you're not cold nor hot, what does that mean? That means you're in between. You're not one or the other. A word that were cold or hot. Okay? So this is what Yahushua is saying. I'd rather you're cold or hot. You're hot for the fire, you're fervent, or you're cold. You're just in the world. Okay, just go back in the world. Yahushua was straight to the point. So then because they are lukewarm means tepid, fluctuating. Okay? And neither cold nor hot. So you're not one of the two. I will spew thee out of my mouth. That goes into being what? Double-minded. So what does Yahushua do? Men like this that go, alright, you starts off with 2 days and then gets to 5 days and it sees a week. And certain men would do that because guess what? They think they're fooling Yahushua. Then it gets to 2 weeks, then it just gets worse. Okay, the next thing you're just out there, you're back in the world. Okay, it says I will spew it out of my mouth. So when you're drinking something, you're eating something and it's not pleasant, you want to spit that out. So this is what Yahushua is saying. It's unpleasant. It's unpleasant to your taste. Yahushua ain't feeling it. And that's why he requires those that are what? Fervent for this truth. Fervent for him. Because they want to be. And that even goes without saying. You should want to give it your all. You should want to give it your all. And that's why the scripture says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let's quickly go to Matthew's. Another double-minded scripture. Bear me just a minute. Matthew 6. It's about, really goes into what are you prioritizing? The truth for the world. Because this world's going to be destroyed. Let's go to Matthew 7 and 24. No man can serve two masters. So you can't serve two masters in this world. Okay, and who's our master? Yahweh, Yahawashi. You can't serve two. You can't serve Esau as well. You do what you have to do. I've always said use the word but not abusing it. For evil he would hate the one and love the other. Okay? And despise, so like a hold to the one and despise. And this is what you see men do. They want to hang on to the world. They're really lovers of the world. And you can see if a guy's worldly. You can just see it. His whole vibration. Okay? You cannot serve the Most High and Mammon. So the scriptures are very straight to the point. This is Yahawashi speaking. You cannot serve Yahawashi, Yahweh, and Mammon, the God of money. You get money because obviously you can do particular things and that's it. But you're not entangled with this world. Okay? So Yahawashi is looking for those that have faith, that are going to believe in Him. And what's faith? The substance of things not seen but hoped for. And your faith is going to be shown through your works. Let's go to, we're going to shut off on this, Ecclesiastes 2 and 10. Look at the generations of old. And that's why the scriptures say in Romans, the scriptures were written for our learning. So the scriptures are written for what? For us to learn from. For us to see the accounts of our forefathers that were in particular situations and they were delivered from these situations. And see, did ever any trust in the Lord Yahawashi and was confounded? The answer is no. Or did any abide in his fare and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Okay? So is it gonna, again, that goes back with James. That goes back to James where it says, if you call, because he upbraideth not, he's not going to despise you for calling upon him and was forsaken. He ain't going to just forsake you like that if you're fighting for him. Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord Yahawashi is full of compassion and mercy and long suffering. He's angry, but he's a balance, and long suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in the time of affliction. That key word, saveth in the time of affliction. Okay? But he's only going to do that to those that trust in him. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands. So if you're fearful of a fearful mind, scripture says woe. So if men don't have that faith, then what? Destruction's going to come upon them. And if they're wicked, they're going to be trying to push that spirit upon you. Okay? And the sinner that go with two ways. That's why you want to stay up in this word, because if you're in Yahawashi, there's no sin within you. Okay? Blessed is the man who the Lord imputeth no sin. So it behooves you to be in this word day in, day out. Woe to him that is faint-hearted. So woe means destruction. So there's going to be destruction to those that are in this truth, but they don't really believe. They don't possess faith. That is faint-hearted. Okay, you're getting all weary. For he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. So it's letting you know in the time of Jacob's trouble, marshal, all these things come. If you're faint-hearted, if you don't really believe, you're not going to be defended. You expect the Lord to defend you, but you don't trust in him. Woe unto you that have lost patience, because you've got men that will still come to camp, but they've lost patience. They've lost patience. And what will you do when the Lord Yahawashi shall visit you? So what are you going to do when he visits you? And this goes back to what, Amos 5? Okay. Where it says, see if I can find it. Amos 5 and 12. What is it to you, the day of the Lord? What is it to you? Those that have went back into the world. Okay. Men, they don't even have time to do sit-down lessons. That's how bad it is. You don't have no time for the day to do your sit-down. And what will you do when the Lord shall visit you? So what are you going to do? Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Do what you have to do. You know what works for you. You know what increases your faith. Okay? So with this, I'm going to shut off here. And Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom.